Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon or good evening, should I say, and welcome to this edition of Cave-Side with Christopher Jaynes here on Facebook Live and on my YouTube channel. Make sure you check out both. Subscribe to the YouTube, man. I need subscribers, bro. Where's you at, man? Fucking A. I'm Christopher Jaynes. Welcome. You guys aren't me, but that's cool, man. There can only be one me, and there can only be one of you guys, each and every one of you. So before we get started with our first guest tonight, I want to remind you, if you see the scroll on the bottom, Island Fight 63, Pensacola, Florida, July 25th. We're back in action. We've already got some great fights lined up, and we're going to keep making announcements all through the next week and two. And we're going to put together a fabulous card for Pensacola in our return show from the pandemic. I can't wait to get back in the ring and announce some freaking fights. I am so excited. Also want to thank my friends and Still Nutrition and Proper Nutrition of Gulf Breeze for all their support for their show and the website, mymmashow.com. Remember, you can check out my website for all my articles. I put one up of Mike Perry a couple days ago, and I put one up this morning about August is officially UFC Fight Month. They have 5 events scheduled in Vegas, plus 4 Dana White Contender Series shows. So that's 9 UFC shows. People go, oh, that's not UFC, it's a Contender Series. Who runs the Contender Series? Dana White. Who's there? The matchmakers. It's a fucking UFC show. It's just 5 fights instead of fucking 15, man. So it's a UFC show, man. They're just branding it a little different. So don't get it twisted. That's what's going on. Now, a couple of weeks ago, a young man made his UFC debut in Las Vegas against Frank Camacho. He came in on real short notice. He doesn't sleep, big old weight cut. Still showed up in Vegas, did the corona testing, did everything else, and he only had to work for like 48 fucking seconds, man, because he knocked out Camacho in his debut in his first fight in the octagon. He is absolutely an awesome guy. We were just talking off the air, our first actual conversation other than messaging, and this show is going to be a fucking hoot. So we're going to bring him in right now to the screen, and honored to have him here with us tonight. His name is Justin Jaynes. They call him the guitar hero, Justin Jaynes. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, glad to be here, man.
Hey, and you guys can see, man, Justin's doing the show. He's got a Bud Light in his hand, so, feel free to drink up. I'm smoking up. That's what I do. So jump in, have a smoke, have a drink, enjoy the show. First of all, Justin, thanks for taking the time, man. Glad to have you on board. Honored. Any guy that comes on my show, I'm always honored to have you guys because, your lives are busy. And, even though it's your debut in the UFC, it doesn't mean that, this is your rodeo, your first rodeo. You've been doing this for a while. You're 16-4, big win. So before we get into the big win and how you even got to that call and everything, question I've kind of been standardizing for every guest since we're in pandemic mode is tell us, and I know you're out there in Michigan visiting family, that's where you're from, but I know you live in Vegas, so tell us about a day in the life of Justin Jaynes prior to the pandemic as you were training for fights and doing what you do, and then tell us a day in the life since the pandemic started. What are the adjustments you've had to make, and all that good stuff. While you're doing that, I'm going to get on the phone here and share this broadcast out so we get a bunch of people watching, and hopefully we can help you grow your brand. By the way, you're the first guy to. If you haven't followed me because we just started following each other on Facebook, but if you go back and look at my post, I used to do this show in the mornings when pandemic started called Fired Up with Christopher Jaynes. I just get high and talk a bunch of shit, and I would always start out the broadcast. I'd be like, all right, everything's open for discussion except for any of that Tiger shit. And look at you coming on with the Tiger King himself and Carol Baskin. So the first time we've had that on the show, I'm going to let it slide because, even though you're in Michigan, I might run into you one day. You might punch me. So I don't want that to happen. But so seriously, though, tell us about life before the pandemic for you, how you dealt with it, a day in life. And then since the pandemic started, the adjustments you had to make.
It's been consistent for the last couple of years. I wake up, 9, 10 o'clock. I go do, work with some clients, at Extreme Couture in the morning, maybe run a couple of classes. Like I say, a cardio kickboxing class, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock rolls around. We do pro practice, either sparring or grappling till 5. And then at 5 o'clock, I run a kids fitness program. And then at 6 o'clock, I run a kids grappling program. And then 7 o'clock, I'll try maybe book another client or so. And that was pretty consistent, and when the pandemic hit, the gym shut down, and I've been unemployed for the last couple of months until, 2 weeks ago when the UFC gave me a call to, strut my stuff out there on the main stage.
That's crazy, dude. So, but for your personal training, did you have to make adjustments to the way you were doing it, finding training partners and all that other good stuff. Give us a little more in depth of that, because I know it's been difficult for most of the fighters I know, and that I've spoken to. And I'm guessing your story can't be too much different. But then there's been a few I've spoken to said, shit ain't changed, man. I just go out there and fucking train, got my partners, we fucking do shit. I actually like it a little bit less idiots in the gym. That's what they were telling me.
And yeah, to that point, it's for sure. When it first started, I actually didn't train for almost 3 weeks because everyone was so afraid to train. The gym was closed. All the coaches, we have a gym key, to work our clients. If we have to do an early session or late night session, we got our gym keys taken away because, the boss didn't want anybody in the gym right now and possibly get shut down in a later future. So, prior to the pandemic, we're all training at the gym. And next thing I know, I find myself at 10 o'clock in the morning hitting mitts at a park, with like Roman Isbell, or, if I had a personal client that I was working with, I'm holding mitts in a park. So yeah, it did change for almost, probably 6 weeks before the gym reopened. And then when they started letting guys trickle back in, it was always small groups. You had to have less than 4 people. So say it'd be me, my coach, and 1 training partner, me, my coach, and 2 training partners, but no more than 4 at a time. And fortunately now everything's starting to get back to normal. The week or maybe 2 weeks prior to this call, we started having pro practice again. We're starting getting more guys back in the gym. But I'm really specific with who I train with. I want to trust my training partners. So I guess through the pandemic, I can find out who I can rely on, who I can trust. And, that's the most I got to say about that as from a training point. Life stayed pretty well prior. And then it just, it just tightened up as the pandemic came on.
So you're out in Vegas, you're training, you're doing your thing. And since it's our first time on the show, we're going to ask some questions that we don't know the answers to, that I don't know the answers to, that I couldn't find anywhere, and I tried, so tell us about the personal life. Is there a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend? And I asked that because, you never know. And, it doesn't matter to me. People go, oh, if I could, like, people bitch about gay marriage. I'm like, look, man, if fucking straight people have to suffer, then gay people have to suffer too. That's the way I feel about it. I don't give a shit who you sleep with, who you kiss. As long as you're happy in life, that's what's important. So again, so we'll go wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, both. Do you have kids, pets? What's going on there?
So I live pretty secluded in Las Vegas. I live in like a studio apartment, basically. I have a girlfriend. She's been supporting me through this whole thing. I couldn't do it without her. I have an 11-year-old son. He primarily lives in Michigan, but he comes to Vegas for the summertime to stay with me. Me and his mom have a great relationship. She got remarried last year. Love the guy. My son's very fortunate to have a great dad in his life, a great stepdad in his life, a great mom in his life. So as for the single life, though, that's, I do have a girlfriend back in Vegas, and we live happily ever after, I guess.
Yeah. Is it a serious relationship? You guys been together for a while? What's the story?
It's we've been together for like 3 years. We have no plan on, having kids or getting married anytime soon. I'm focused on my career right now. And, if it wasn't for that focus these last couple of years, and it does make it rocky between us sometimes. But without that focus, I don't find myself under the lights a couple Saturdays ago.
Yeah. So you got the 11-year-old boy. What's his name? And tell us a little bit about your son.
My son's name is Benjamin Jaynes. He's 11 years old. He's a great kid. He's a straight A student. He doesn't really like sports as much as I do, but I'm okay with that. I just want him to find a passion in something and then to run with it. Everyone's like, oh, you want your son to be a fighter. It's like, I don't really care for him to be. It's a really hard, grimy, gritty lifestyle that that's not for everybody. And, if I chose, I mean, when he sees me, do it on TV and stuff, he's like, oh, that's what I want to do. And it's like, I'm not pro it. I'm not against it, but I hope he just finds a passion in the next couple of years and runs with it like I did.
Yeah. Maybe teach him how to be a fight manager. So he could be in the game, get paid for other people fighting, and not have to fucking get his face messed up.
Kicker in football, or a punter, maybe. I was thinking maybe an NFL second string punter. And
but then he still has to go out there, and there's a chance he could get hurt. So
hurt crossing the street. Make $500K a year, sit on the bench.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, sit on the bench with his helmet on. His Game Boy,
drinking a beer.
Shit, I'm going in. Fuck. That's awesome. All right. So the name Guitar Hero, that's your nickname. I'm going to assume that, you were a great Guitar Hero video game player, but maybe that's not it. So tell us the basis behind the Guitar Hero nickname.
Well, it's relatively simple, and it's not because I was good at Guitar Hero. Like, in college, you have a couple cold beers. Next thing I know, I'm up on the table playing Guitar Hero in my fucking underwear, having a good time. And it wasn't just me. Like, we had parties and stuff, getting nuts and stuff. So my college roommate, Corey Michaelitis, dared me to come out strumming a Guitar Hero, acting like a rocker with aviator sunglasses on, headband, and all that shit. So
In a
2000
fight?
at a fight, like ring. So if you look at Instagram, there's a picture of me. I have these big aviator sunglasses on. I have a headband, have the guitar, and I'm coming out to TNT, and I'm like pumping up the crowd as we go, and I'm strumming the guitar, and I'm dancing as I walk down to the ring. And I did it 2 or 3 times, and Sure Dog picked it up, and they won't let it go. Like, it was like 2008, 2009. I wrote them emails. Oh, excuse me. I wrote them emails to take it down. They just never replied, never took it down. And then Bruce Buffer asked me the other day, like, "Do you really want to be announced this?" I'm like, fuck it. I mean, the rest of the world, Guitar Hero now. I haven't went by that name in over 10 years, and now I guess I'm the Guitar Hero again. So,
well, listen, man. Coming into the UFC, later in the career, you're, like I said, you're 16-4, so you were already almost 20 fights into your pro career when you got the call. The evolution of the sport, you need a gimmick. Yeah. So that's one you should embrace, dude. I would get the Guitar Hero video game guitar, and every fight I would talk to Mick Manor and Sean Shelby, say, look, I'm going to come out and rock the crowd. I'm going to have my Guitar Hero guitar and just walk it, dude. And you know what? People will fall in fucking love with you. And it's a good guy gimmick. It's fun. You don't have to be a dick to people. I mean, unless you want to be, and that sells as well. But the fact that you got the Guitar Hero thing and you don't mind rocking out, I mean, if you don't run with this, I'm going to come to Vegas. Well, it depends. If you're visiting mom and dad, I'm coming to Michigan because I want to meet your dad anyway, because I want to check out his business.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll come out to Vegas. I'll choke you, dude. It's a great gimmick, dude. I mean, run with it.
Back to it. I generally think I'm going to go back to it. I've gotten a lot of emails from, people from the UK that are like, "Oh my God, this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen," because everyone is like the Spartan or the warrior or, something tough. And I'm just a Guitar Hero. The only thing I don't like about it is, the new generation of people coming out. A lot of people don't even know what that is. Not to mention,
okay. You can educate them.
I guess, right. Yep, that's true.
I mean,
Guitar Hero, and like, I want to sponsor because I know your sales are about to skyrocket.
Yeah, I mean, write it out a couple of times, and I think it would be awesome. Before you get the call to the UFC, you're 15-4. You've had some good fights. I did go back and look at some footage that I could find. A lot of fights with WCX or WXC. I always get their letters confused. Yeah. And good work, man. Your skill set is solid. Obviously it's solid enough because you got the call to the UFC. But before you got that call, how close did you think you were to getting to the UFC? Because I mean, some guys at a stage of career where you are, they get frustrated. They go, all right, man, I've got 20 fucking pro fights. I might not ever get to the UFC. So I'm just going to do my regular, whatever job that is. And I'm just going to go out there and have fun whenever I get a fight somewhere. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you love the game. So did you feel in your heart that the UFC call was coming, or was it kind of little, off the path that you had in your head at this point?
Honestly, I've just been fighting for so long, and the whole point of me moving to Vegas, the whole point of me doing this is to get to the UFC, to get to the point where I'm at now. After my fight against James Warfield last year at 175, I thought I put on a pretty good show. And, my manager called me that night and he's like, "Hey, you're in the UFC. Like, your next fight's going to be in the UFC. I was like, "All right, bet." So I stayed ready. And that was May 31st, June, July, August, September, October, November. No call, no call, no call, no call. "Hey, can you make 145 in 10 days? I was like, "Fuck no. I I can't. Why are you even asking me?" So again, nothing. And then, they kept telling me, I was next in line, and my teammates are getting picked up at lightweight. And it's like, man, what the fuck? So like February, March-ish, I changed managers to Jason House, Iridium Sports. I told him, my situation. I told him, what's been going on. And he said, "I think we can get you a fair shot." Wednesday night, Jason called me, asked me if I can make weight. Next thing I know, 48 hours later, I'm fighting Frank Camacho.
That's crazy, dude. And signing with Iridium and Jason House is a phenomenal thing. Jason House has been putting a lot of guys on cards since the Jacksonville card started, and the UFC came back to business. I love Jason House. I love how he takes care of his fighters. Did you know that Jason House, when he was growing up, his family fostered 28 kids?
Wow.
28 kids.
I never knew that.
And the education that he must have received from that on how to deal with every kind of personality was so awesome for him, and it translates to guys like you because, he sits and listens to you and he got your story and he knew what it was. The one thing that I feel bad for Jason about, there's a lot of people talking about him and Iridium in social media because he's putting guys on every single card. And
Sure.
Sometimes Jason House, Iridium clients are fighting other Iridium clients.
Sure.
Now that's just part of the game. They're not, Randy Couture guys, Extreme Couture guys fighting Extreme Couture guys. That's a little, taboo. They say, I personally, I don't care who you train with, man. At the end of the day, it's an individual sport. You fight who they put in front of you.
Sure.
However, management companies are different. They're not, worried about who you're training with. You want to fight? Yeah. All right. This guy wants to fight. Well, shit, I manage both of them. Well, they both want to fight. Fuck it. Book the fight. And people are shitting on him for that. And I think that's wrong. I think he's doing what he's supposed to do, getting fights for his clients like you. He got you a fight, 48 hours, you get a phone call and, I got to say, location. Thank God you live in Vegas.
Yeah, and that's, I live 2 miles from the Apex, and I can't. I mean, I've been talking to Jason the last couple of months, and he always believed in me. He always knew it was going to happen, even when I was losing doubt and I was losing faith. He's staying very diligent. Calling me every week. Justin, how's your weight? Justin, how's your training? Are you ready? Are you stay fucking ready because these next couple of shows you're. And honestly, I was starting to I peaked emotionally like 6 months ago. So,
yeah.
Low decline, like, okay, I've heard this fucking 37 times. But you know what? Hats off to Jason, hats off to Iridium Sports. If Jason was going to hold me, Lance was, Jake was, Jeremy was. Like, they have such a great team, and it's a family. And like I said, every now and then they just call, hey, I just want to see how you're doing, man. And that just reaches out to me and just tells me what kind of business they are and they run, and what kind of people these guys are. And I couldn't be happier. I wouldn't change management system or management companies if my life depended on it.
And there's nothing wrong with, if he has a client that, he represents in your weight class and you guys are booked to fight, you don't give a shit, right?
Frank Camacho is represented by Iridium Sports.
There you go.
And Frank, like I said, I'd love to have a beer with him after the fight. This is business, man. It's nothing personal. It's just business. He's getting a payday. I'm getting a payday. Everyone's happy. Let's fucking go, man. Let's fight. Let's try to knock each other out.
Amen to that, man. I want to shout out to a couple of groups, Pete Fogel and Forrest Daniels from the MMA Fight Forum. Pete, MMA Fight Forum is special. I love you guys. And shout out to the MMA Freaks, MMA Awesomeness, MMA Uncensored, and Cage Fighter. I know that I got people watching from all those groups. If you guys have questions for Justin Jaynes, type in there. I got the Facebook comment stream up here, and I can pose the questions to him. So, all right, let's get a little more into the fight. So you're sitting at home, hanging out, right? Just doing whatever. And this is Wednesday of fight week, and the fight's on Saturday. So you get a phone call Wednesday and they're like, hey man, how you doing? What's going on? How's your day today? Did you eat? You get some training? Oh, by the way, you want to fight Saturday night in the Octagon?
Yeah, it's not exactly how it went, but so Jason texted me early in the morning and asked me how my weight was. And then Lance texted me asking how my weight was. And it's strange usually one of them will text me, but it's very strange that both of them will text me. And I just got a weird feeling about it. Told him it's good. I'm nice and light. He's all right. Just make sure your weight's ready. So I go train. I go through all my day, do my clients, it's just a normal day. Then me and my girlfriend, we're going out to eat. We're driving by Mandalay. I believe we're going to get Thai food. And I heard my phone go off. I look down. Jason's calling me. And he doesn't usually call me. I mean, he does call me occasionally, but most of the time it's text. So my heart sank and I answer. I was like, hello. He's like, hey, Justin, how you doing? I said, I'm pretty good. And I was expecting him to say, hey, sorry, I didn't something, there's no opening this week or something like that, because that's what it's been for a year almost. So
right.
And he's like, how's your weight? I said, it's good. He goes, all right, you're fighting Frank Camacho on Saturday. And I remembered, I sat still really, and I said, all right, sounds good. And I hung up the phone, and my girlfriend says, well, who was that? I was like, I was Jason. She goes, well, what does he say? I said, he said, I'm fighting this weekend. She's like, what? Are you curious? I just sat there cool as a cucumber. Like, I didn't really believe it was real. I was waiting for him to call me back and say, sorry, go fuck yourself. But gnarly. Can you imagine? That would suck so bad.
That's funny. Oh my god. uh, yeah, no, Jason doesn't seem like the guy that's gonna clown you. It's like he's gonna call you for good stuff.
I mean, I knew he wasn't, but I would have been pretty gnarly if he would have. That would have been fucked up.
Yeah. All right. So you get the call. You get off the phone. You tell your girlfriend, "Hey, I got a fight this weekend in the UFC." Who's the first person you call after you get the call?
I called my mom. I was told not to call anybody, but I got to call my mom.
Got to call your mom.
So hopefully Jason doesn't get upset about that. But yeah, I called my mom. She broke down. She's crying. She's one of the people that have known how long I've been around. I've been doing this. I had my first competition in 2007 at 17 years old. I was underage. My dad had to, sign the release to let me fight at 17 years old. We're talking
Awesome.
years ago, almost 14 years ago. I had 50 amateur fights. I have 20 pro fights, 4 years of college wrestling, 1 year. Like, I put my fucking time in. I'm a brown belt in gi jiu-jitsu. Like, I put my time in, and she knows. And there's been times where I'm breaking down, emotionally crying, don't have money to pay bills and shit. And she's always supported me. She never told me to quit. She never, there's a couple times she asked me to move home, move back to Michigan because, for the last 10 years, I've been making less than 25 grand. And like, that's, I'm happy about it. And I'm glad it happened the way it did, because now I know, how to survive, like what's essential and what's not, now that I'm in with UFC, I'll start making some real money and start saving and, start making a passive income as well.
Yeah, and the guys that you're with Jason House and Iridium, they're going to make sure that your financial planning is in order. Getting you to the right investments and buying property so you have your own place. There's a lot of management groups out there that do take care of that with their fighters. Iridium, I know the guys at First Round do. I know Sucker Punch, Brian Butler, and those guys do. They're good people watching out for you guys. There's some shady managers out there that are just there for their cut, and then they dip out, and then you hear from them when the next fight comes up and go, "Hey, don't forget to pay me." So you're fortunate.
And I wish I could say enough about Jason and Iridium, dude. Like, I've only been working with them since February, and I just feel like it's a family, man. Like, I feel like bullshit. We can go catch a beer, not even talk about fighting. Like, I don't know, man. It's just a great feeling I just get from him. I just get from the whole company. Like I said, Jason came out to Vegas, and he's been staying in Vegas. He moved his family out to Vegas for the next 2 months because he knew these shows. He knew his opportunities were going to show up. And
yep.
I couldn't say enough good things about the guy. I think he's a great manager. I think he's a great person, and I'm so lucky to be a part of his group.
Yeah, and like I said, you definitely landed with the good group of guys. Hey, and everybody watching KHR Christopher James, we are live tonight from the KHR Christopher James studios and from Michigan, because I'm in Florida. My man's in Michigan having him a Bud Light. That is UFC newcomer Justin Jaynes. Justin Jaynes, excuse me. He is 16-4 as a professional fighter. He had his first win a couple of weeks ago. It's against Frank Camacho. Got the fight on Wednesday, knocked the dude out on Saturday. Drank a beer probably half an hour later. He lives out in Vegas, trains at Extreme Couture. And he's been out there for a while chasing this dream. Gets the phone call. Thank God he lived in Vegas, because that definitely, played into the fact that you got that short notice call. And, it was well worth the wait, I guess. You get there, you get a fight, and for you, fight week, you haven't experienced a fight week yet. You experienced a fight, half week, but even then, with some of the stuff they rushed you through, the poster signing and all these other things that fighters do and open workouts and all this other stuff isn't going on right now. So when this all comes back, I want to talk to you again after your first real fight week, because sure. I've been to so many fight weeks, covering events and following fighters, doing little biopics and shit. And man, fight week is crazy, especially your first one. So the fact that you were able to come in and have an easy fight week, just a couple days you're there and you get right to fighting.
Say easy, because keep in mind, I was 15 pounds overweight Wednesday night. Thursday, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have all day to cut weight. My game plan was to start cutting weight at noon, and that'll give me like 20 hours to lose 15 pounds, no problem. Well, Jason hit my itinerary the next day. I had a doctor's appointment at 9 o'clock. I had a doctor's appointment at 11 o'clock. I had an eye appointment at 1:30. I had a physical at 3:30. Then I had a meeting with USADA at 5. I didn't
Yep.
start cutting weight till 8 p.m. the night before. I had less than 12 hours to make weight. Roman Isbell, Dennis Davis met me at the gym at like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. We were at the gym till about 3 a.m., I believe. I went to sleep for 2 or 3 hours, woke up 6 a.m. Me and Roman finished the weight cut, weighed in at 9. So it wasn't as easy as you might think.
Well, all right. So maybe it wasn't as easy as I was making it sound, and we knew when I said easy, those things you had to do. I mean, that's part of it. You're coming in short, so you're gonna have to meet with your side and do all these other things. But there's all the other stuff that you didn't have to do.
Sure.
Poster signings, like I said, open workouts, media fucking crush, and all that shit. So you were able to stay focused, and even though you had a busy day, you made the weight. It was a catch weight fight, thank goodness.
No, it
and
wasn't.
Wasn't it a catch weight?
It was 155. He missed weight by 2 pounds. Or it's
I know he missed, but I for some reason I thought it was a catch weight at 150. I'm a stupid idiot. I get so many fights in my head. I get confused sometimes, man.
58.0.
Nice. So 15 pounds in, less than 20 hours, no big deal. You used to wrestle.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
You did that like all the time. So, but now that you're there, 155 is going to be your weight class. So now that you are there, are you keeping yourself, where do you walk?
I'm like 170 right now. There is discussion of talking about going down to featherweight, but it has to be the right opportunity. It has to be the right time. I couldn't do it on short notice. With a full 10-week camp, I think now that I have some aces in my back pocket. I have the PI, I have a nutritionist, I have Andrew Jacoby as my strength coach. We put all these things together. My team believes that I can get down to 145. But with that being said, is how am I going to feel performing the next day? So it's going to have to be the right situation and the right opponent to make a try at that. 155 is my home. And like I said, I'm willing to experiment in other weight classes, but as for now, 155 is my home.
Yeah, and if you're walking at 170, 155 is the right spot for you to be in. 145, while you could probably get there, my experience of talking with fighters, we all know that you're not recovering everything that you depleted your body of in 24 hours. Yep. So going from 170 to 145, you're going to have less recovery than going down to 155 where your body is used to it. And again, how do you perform? Is your strength going to be there? Is your stamina going to be there? Because you could have the best cardio in the world, but that weight cut will suck the life out of you. So for me, I'm saying stay at 155 because either division, it's loaded with killers. You are, as far as, the willingness to go to 45 and the fact that you're in 55, these are the two premier divisions.
Yeah.
So almost any opportunity is a good one.
Sure. Absolutely.
So were you happy with the first paycheck?
Oh, I mean, it's the most money I've ever had at one time in my whole life, man. It's like I'm sitting on cloud 9. It's I just feel getting the performance bonus of the night, and as much the person I want to thank more than anybody is Dana White, not because he cut me the check, but because the day before, after, or was it after the weigh-ins, or I can't remember. Yeah, it was after the weigh-ins. He takes all the fighters into the room, and I've said this to a lot of people, but it just stuck with me. I'm sitting in the front row, talking about the event, talking about the publicity, talking about all these people they're going to be watching. And he said, it's up to you, how you're going to remember. Are you going to be the fight that everybody's talking about for the rest of the week? And he's telling us it's your decision. He said, somebody's getting a performance bonus and it's up to you if it's yours. So I'm thinking on stuff like, so the whole night I just visualized like him saying this and me going out there knocking Frank out and, everybody buzzing about this fight for the whole week. And, I believe in visualization. I know some people think it's silly, but I tell you what, like, I visualized walking out to the cage. I visualized landing a left hook. Like it's one of my favorite punches. And I visualized it. And I visualized it so much when it happened, I didn't even think it was real. I was like, no fucking. But, I mean, if it wasn't for Dana White, I might have tried a more strategic game plan to maybe try to wrestle a little bit. I have a college wrestling background. I have a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And I just remember thinking in the cage, it's like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm knocking this motherfucker out. And if I don't, I'm going to try my fucking damnedest to take his head off.
Well, you did. And, I mean, not bad. Your first fight weekend, you get your fighter pay, your win bonus, and I'm going to guess, you don't have to tell me the numbers, but you first fight in, you're getting somewhere between 12 and 14 grand to show, 12 and 14 grand to win. So
Yep.
let's just say you 12.5. So we got 25 grand for the fight, 50 grand in the bonus at 75, and then about almost 4 grand for Reebok money. So, in your first fight in, 80 grand minus, Jason's money. So that means you got like 5 grand. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But you take care of your bills and everything. But, my guesstimation is, at 80 grand, you're probably going to walk away yourself. And then taxes, you should take the tax part out of it automatically so you don't worry about it later. So let's just say, you made $55,000. It's not a bad way to start your UFC career. I mean, obviously when people go, oh, pro athlete only walked away at 55 grand. Well, that's 55 grand that the dude didn't have the day before, and, I always say this, I think fighters should get more money, but when people start complaining about it, look, man, they signed a contract. They know what they were getting into. They know what they're going to do as far as the sport, and they wanted to be there. They signed the contract. They took it. Now they'll go out there and show why they should get more money. And there are guys that do, and then there are fighters that don't. You are going to be one of those guys that goes, all right, give me the next one, and you're going to go out there and do something spectacular again. Like I said, when I messaged you, there's something about you with your energy, dude. It's very attractive. It draws people in. Like I went back, like I said, before your fight, I looked at a few fights. I watched you fight. I felt everything that you were talking about in your post fight. I was just like, this guy's fucking awesome. You're really, and now you got the Guitar Hero gimmick. I mean, there's so much going on with you, and you have you check all the boxes. What the UFC wants. Somebody's going to go out there and fight. Take a fight short notice, make the weight, personality, style, flair. You got all of it. Now you just got to go out there, win those fights, and get those bigger checks, right?
I mean, and that's it, and people keep asking like, oh, well, what's your goals in the UFC? And you just hit the nail on the head, man. It's like, I want to win, obviously, every fight, but I want to be that fight that was talked about. I want to be the fight that was talked about, just a slugfest. My favorite fighter in the UFC, I've been fortunate to train with him a couple of times, is Justin Gaethje, man. And that guy's
love that dude.
Yeah, he's a college wrestler. And when is he wrestling? I mean, I just want to emulate him and I watch his videos and see what he does. And he doesn't give a fuck. He just gets in the pocket and slugs. And if he gets knocked out, he don't care. And then he's knocking guys out. He's knocking legends out. He knocked out Edson Barboza in the first round. He just beat up Tony Ferguson like it was nothing. And it's like this is a premier college wrestler that changed his striking good enough to knock people out in the UFC, and that's what I want to do. Wrestling to the casual fan is boring. Wrestling to me, and I'm not a casual fan, is fucking boring. I want their head. When I hit their chin, I want their head to spin all the way around, and I'm looking at the crowd in the back, and
nice.
I get knocked out in the process of that. It happens, but I'm headhunting for sure.
Yeah, and that's the way to be. That's what Dan is looking for in fighters. I always bring up the name of exciting fighter is Mike Perry. Mike Perry goes out there and does what Mike Perry wants to do. He knows how to brand himself. He's outlandish. He's crazy fun. I know Mike living here in Florida. I announced his fights as a pro before he ever got to the UFC. And Mike, the Mike you guys see today is the same Mike that I saw back on the regional scene, even when the cameras weren't on, because that's who Mike is. He's brash. He's outspoken. And what you have to do with Mike is you have to listen between the words, because Mike always says something, that you should hear. And sometimes it's pretty profound, but people get lost in some of the antics. And, he went out there this last fight, no corner, just his girlfriend. Yeah, put some ice on my neck. Tell me I'm doing good. Tell me I look good. He was calm. And again, I'm telling you from close-up views of Mike, I've never seen him so calm in a fight. He was so in his zone of what he wanted to do and how he was going to do it. He even talked about post-fight, with Ariel on the show on Monday. And he said, he goes, in between rounds, I just sat there. The quiet was good. I just watched, I saw what he did the last round. I could see where we were going to the next round. So, he might do it again, but he proved something, that a fighter can go out there and fight without having all the noise in the corner. And he doesn't like the noise, because most of the people are shooting the noise at him, in his opinion. They're not out there fighting. They're just coaches. So
sir.
they don't get what he's going through. So he goes, I'm going to punch when I want to punch. I'm going to go to the ground when I want to go to the ground. I know what I'm doing. Proved it.
More power to him, man. I'm a big Mike Perry fan, and I thought he did awesome. I thought he was going to smash Gall just like he did. I think Gall was overrated. I think, he got lucky to get the CM Punk fight, but for him to go in there and, smash Gall like he did, I was happy for it.
Yeah, I mean, Gall's 6-3 now, and 8 of his pro fights have taken place in the octagon. He was 1-0 when he came to the UFC. The fact that he's still there says that he's continuing to evolve and improve. Some people didn't want to give Mike credit for that when I'm like, dude's in the UFC, man. He's a 8-fight UFC veteran or 7-fight UFC veteran going in. You got to give the respect because Mickey has improved. He can throw punches now. He couldn't throw punches when he first got here, but now he can, and he does connect. And he tagged Mike a few times. He busted up Mike's face a little bit. Left some welts on Mike. So he did good. Mike did good. But the reason I bring up Mike is because even in losing fights, Mike is not going anywhere because he brings to the UFC what Dana and the powers that are in charge want. He's exciting. He's energetic. He brings a crowd, whether they want to see him knock somebody out or see him get knocked the fuck out. People tune in to watch Mike Perry. He got more pop than the main event, although the main event delivered. Wow. But he was getting talked about up until the fight was over more than the main event to some degree. Mike brings something to the game, and he'll always he's the guy who could lose a fight and get a raise because of what he brings to the fight. It's crazy. So like you, going out there and knock dudes out, put on a show. I like the fact that you want to spin their heads around and make them see the other side. If you can make that happen, dude, that's a gimmick all in itself. We'll have to change your nickname to Justin the Head Spinner Jaynes, and then we'll show the highlights like the Exorcist and shit. Fucking people. I'm getting a little grossed out now because I can hear the neck turning, and, So how was it for you?
I think that's going to be it. if I go anywhere from the Guitar Hero, it's going to have to be the Exorcist now. I think you just came up with something. I like it.
We might have something there. I want like 0.5%. How was it for you fighting in the Apex with no fans in attendance? Not how you envisioned your UFC debut, I'm guessing.
No, it's not really how I envisioned it, but you know what? Like, I was so tunnel visioned at that time. Like, I didn't even realize. I mean, I knew there weren't people there. I shouldn't say I didn't realize there were fans there. I sound like a fucking idiot, but like, it didn't really set in until like right after Herb stopped me. I just I belch out this loud scream just because all for years and years. And it echoed back, and I didn't hear anything in return because usually when you scream, you won't hear yourself because the crowd's being loud and shit. And I was like, well, that was fucking weird. But honestly, coming from a wrestling background, coming from a wrestling pedigree, high school, college, even, most of the tournaments, there aren't a lot of fans there. You don't get a big crowd of fans till you're in the state tournament, till you're in the national tournament. So having nobody there, it was completely fine with me. It didn't affect my emotion. I knew I was there. I knew I was there to do a job. And that's all that really mattered to me in the moment.
Yeah, and that's awesome, dude. I mean, but for us, we heard you knock Frank out. Yeah. Have you gone back and watched? Excuse me, gone back and watched it and listened to it?
Bink. I just hear bink, bink.
It's such a fucking bizarre sound to hear. You watch on TV, and I've seen so many fights now without the crowd, and I'm just watching. I'm going, my God. And I'm a ring announcer. I mean, I sit ringside and cage side all the time announcing fights, but there's something different because even when the crowd ain't popping, you hear stuff because you're sitting right there at the ring or cage side. It's different when you hear it on TV in an empty arena because you really, you don't have any other distractions around you. It's just you and your couch. So you're like, oh my God, what's that even fucking feel like? For that dude on the other end. Oh, but it does add a huge element of the violence that we crave because now the violence has a different soundtrack now, and we're hearing it loud and clear. It's got a top 10 list, and every fucking one is a hit. That was a pun, by the way. Oh man, so but seriously, so you get there, you do your whole thing, no crowd. like you said, and it wasn't even a big deal for you. But I know you wanted, and I'm hoping at some point we get to see you fight in a crowd because with the energy you bring, man, it's going to be awesome. I got some questions for you.
Sure. Fire.
From the fans watching. This is Debbie Gamble. She actually has a trophy from the Florida MMA Awards as the #1 MMA fan in Florida.
Oh, wow.
She loves every fighter. She follows every event. We love her. And her question is, what do you usually eat after weigh-ins? What's your refresh meal?
Is sushi. I love sushi. Salmon sushi, nigiri, and I seriously can eat 25 pounds of that. I'm getting my protein in the fish. I'm getting my sodium in the soy sauce, getting the carbs in the rice, and it just tastes so fucking good. The only problem is I eat so much of it, I feel sick afterwards because after your weigh-in, your stomach is shrunk up so small. And sometimes I puke, but after I puke, I'm just making room for more. So salmon, nigiri, sushi.
Maybe before you cut weight, if you're in a weight cut and you've got a few pounds, maybe just pound out some sushi and then vomit, and maybe that'll make the weight cut easier.
It's crossed my mind a couple of times, but my coach, my nutritionist advised against it. I don't understand why, but I've thought about it.
And by the way, I figured out, if I'm speaking, wait till I'm done because you don't have your headphones. It doesn't let us hear you unless I'm not talking. So I just noticed that a minute ago. I meant to say something. So this is from Forrest Daniels. He says, "Congratulations, Justin, on getting into the UFC. Your performance was amazing." His question for you is, what's your favorite part of being in the UFC? Now, before you answer that, I'm going to say, because you've only been there for 2 weeks and you didn't really get to experience all of it. So for me, I'm going to predict the answer. His favorite part of being in the UFC is being in the UFC. Now we'll see what he has to say.
My favorite part of being in the UFC is being in the UFC. Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better yourself. This has been a lifelong dream of mine since I was little. When I was 9 years old, I wanted to be a WWF superstar. That transitioned into folk style wrestling, transitioned into MMA, transitioned when I was, 18, 19 years old. My goal was to be in the UFC when I was 25. Now I'm here. I've accomplished every goal up until this point that I've ever wanted in my life. And it's just such a great feeling accomplishment. When I get back to Vegas in a week, I'm going to reevaluate my goals and, try to get there. But the answer is simple. You called it, Chris. Being in the UFC is my favorite part.
All right, crowd, calm down out there. Calm down, you guys. They're all clapping for me. That happens all the time. Another question Forrest has. Oh, I got the wrong mouse. Where is it? He wrote it twice. That's weird. All right. What's the first thing you bought with that UFC paycheck, or what's the first thing you're going to buy yourself that's a little treat that you've been holding out on?
Well, I haven't bought anything. The first thing I did with the paycheck is I cleared all my debt. So the first time in my life, I am 100% debt free. Now with the extra $500 I have after all that debt, I'll probably take my girlfriend out to some all you can eat sushi for like $20 or something. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably look into some retail, some real estate, and in Vegas and in Michigan real estate. But as for a little treat, hunting season's coming up. I want to do a hunt and an elk hunt, and I'll probably buy like an expensive gun, like a 300 PRC or something.
Nice. This one is not a question. This one is just a shout out from Michael Pettinelli. What's up, champ?
Hey, that's WXC promoter Mike Pinelli. I was a 145-pound champ for a 155-pound champ. Norbert and Mike, they're the man. Good seeing you, boys.
Hey, by the way, Mike, if you ever need a ring announcer, your guy gets sick, man, hit me up, dude. I am fucking phenomenal. Just saying.
WXC, they put me in the UFC. I was 3-0 for them. Chaos Williams, Cody Stamen, top 10 in the UFC. I believe Darren Cruikshank fought for him. There's one more. Chaos Williams. Did I say Chaos Williams? But I think there's one more too.
Did Jamal Hill fight for WXC?
I believe so.
Well, he's in the UFC.
So, I mean, that's the premier Michigan regional promotion. There's several other good ones too. TWC run by Pete in Lansing. It's another one I was 3-0 for. Just a great bunch of guys, honest guys that I think really look out for the fighter, man. And they really push their fighters to get in the UFC with the UFC Fight Pass and the way they advertise and everything. So appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah, no, it's good that you had some good experience with some good promoters on the regional level. The two companies I've worked for the most time, XFC back in the day, and we put a bunch of fighters into the UFC, and we still have a lot of them there. The company I work for now is Island Fights out of Pensacola, and we're constantly putting guys into the UFC, get them to the Contender Series. It's honored. For me, it's an honor to announce some names that I know are going to be stars in the future. I just wish some of them could bring me as their own personal ring announcer, but Buffer's got that on lock. Bastard. But I working with Island Fights, partially owned by Roy Jones Jr., greatest pound for pound boxer ever. His last fight took place in 2018. His last professional fight, his retirement fight. He always said he was going to do it in Pensacola, and he allowed me to ring announce his fight. Wow.
That's fun. And he's an incredible boxer. And I believe he fought someone in Michigan. They did like an MMA crossover, I believe, a couple of years ago. But anyways, I think he's an incredible boxer. His hand speed is just incredible, and fucking phenomenal athlete just overall.
Yep, and he went out winning the Cruiserweight Championship of the World, and I got to be there and announce it. So I'll be the answer of a trivia question. Hey, who's that funny-looking old Jewish guy that announced Roy's last fight? Ding, 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 Christopher Jaynes. Woo! Here's a question for you from Anthony Morse. What is the one thing you feel you need to keep improving on?
Everything. I mean, I want to improve in my grappling. I'm only a brown. I shouldn't say I'm only a brown belt, but my grappling. More of a defensive grappling base, because again, I want to strike. I want to work on my hand speed a little bit. Watching my fight, I felt I was winding up. I'm winding up from here because I really want to land those power shots. I'm going to be working with Roman Isbell, Kara Rowe, and Dennis Davis. Really sharpening up my hands. A little bit quicker hands. I'd like next time instead of these big winding up punches.
I like it. All right, so two more things before we let you get out of here. I know you got another interview coming up here shortly. Khabib and Gaethje, who wins that fight?
Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked about this. I'm a huge Khabib fan. Ali, his manager, trains at the gym. Speaking of managers that manage both guys, Ali's the manager of Justin, and he's the manager of that. And it's just the business. But anyways, man, I want to go with Gaethje because he's going to be the underdog, and I see myself in him a lot. Like I see. I'm not comparing us, saying we're equals or anything, but I just love his style and I love his tenacity. I think his college wrestling background is going to really give Khabib some problems. And the thing with Gaethje is Khabib can hit him as hard as he wants, and he's not going to go down in one punch. Now, if Khabib was going to put it on a striking clinic, all right, maybe I could see, but Khabib's going to strike to get his wrestling on, and I think Gaethje has wrestled at the top of the level in Division I for so long that I think he's going to give Khabib some problems, and my money's on Gaethje to win by TKO.
I agree with you 100%. I think with the power he brings, I don't think Khabib's ever been hit in the face by somebody that punches as hard as Justin Gaethje. I know heavyweights that spar with Gaethje and that have sparred with Gaethje over the years, and they don't want to spar with Gaethje because he hits so hard.
And not to mention, has to get tested too. Michael Johnson rocked him. I thought Michael Johnson rocked Khabib in their fight. That was just one. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but with that one punch, he rocked him. You get one or two of those or three of those coming from Gaethje, it's going to be a short night.
Yeah, man. I mean, and he just destroyed Tony Ferguson, and I did not. I'll be honest, I did not see that coming. I knew Justin was going to tag him and it was going to be a fight, but man, he really went out and showed the improvements he's made. The patience, I think, is the thing I was most impressed with. And the avoidance of punches. He wasn't standing there eating punches the way he always has. He decided, coming in, I'm going to get mine and get out. Such an improvement for him because that's going to, keep him around longer because he's taken some brutal beatings. But man, he's that guy, I'll take two to give one because my one is going to be more damaging than your two. And that's how he thinks. We don't see his wrestling. So if we start seeing the wrestling coming out with Khabib, at least his straight up takedown defense, and he can get back up from it. If he gets up from Khabib's first takedown, that's going to frustrate Khabib from jump. And, getting in Khabib's head is a smart way to go.
I agree with you 100%. And like I said, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. You'd know better than I probably, but I think Connor got up off Khabib's first takedown attempt. And, then that kind of shows how good of a champion Khabib really is, because just because he got up once or twice, he didn't give up on it. He stuck to his game plan. Now, I think, with that pedigree that Justin comes from, it's going to be a lot tougher. And if Conor McGregor with no wrestling background can get up a couple times, man,
Yeah.
I just don't see him holding Justin down.
I was pretty impressed when Khabib dropped fucking Connor on his ass. I did not see that coming.
No, nobody did. I put my money, but I didn't see that coming.
All right, so one more thing. So, guys, this is Justin's first time on the show. I told him in the pre-fight or pre-interview messaging that I make a special request of all my first-time guests to do a little something special, and that's sing. What you eating on there? Watermelon?
Got a little watermelon. Mom stopped in and give me some watermelon.
That's awesome. Mom came in and brought you watermelon. You got beer, watermelon, chilling at Mom's house. No internet, but whatever. I mean, sacrifices, keeps you humble.
That's right.
So I told Justin he could sing, or he has to sing on the show. We've never had anybody say no. And when I told him, he's like, all right. So I have a feeling we're going to hear something good here. I can't wait. My boy Forrest watches the show like religiously. He's been probably one of my biggest supporters, man. And when I tell him that somebody's singing, or when I announce a first-time guest, the first thing he comments, somebody's fucking singing. He gets all excited. So, and it's a cool thing that nobody else does on their show. I had Michelle Waterson sing "Happy Birthday to You" to my boy Mike Davis at his second UFC fight in Tampa, because she was on the show first time and she didn't know what to sing. So I said, sing "Happy Birthday" to my boy Mike. It's his birthday. So she busts out, "Happy birthday to you." And she gets down, she can sing. And I was like, God damn, girl. To this day, just so you know, you're competing against the greatest performance on the show, which was by Courtney Casey. She came on a couple of years ago and busted out the entire theme song for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh my gosh.
She was sitting there. I told her, ahead of time, she got a thing. She's sitting there. She sits on the screen. She goes, all right, I'm ready. Right. And I go, okay. And then she dead silent. And then all of a sudden, she's sitting in the chair and she's just like, "In West Philadelphia, boy." And she just started busting it out. I was like, and she killed it, man. Fucking killed it. So that's the level of competition. Then a few guys just sucked the bed really bad. So, shit happens. Sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, here he is making his singing debut on an MMA podcast for the very first time, the velvety voice of Mr. Justin Jaynes.
Now, I want to dedicate this song to my next opponent because, I plan on them going to sleep. So, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
That was fucking phenomenal. And you can sing. You got some tone. You got some key.
Hey,
I was very impressed. I wish you would have sang something a little more rocking, to go with the Guitar Hero thing.
I got put on the spot, and I've been trying. I can go hard on karaoke, but I totally forgot that I had to come up with a song, and I just come up with that on the top of my head, man.
That was awesome. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Well, you didn't just have to come up with that. Hey, you knew like yesterday or something. I told you. So
forgot. I was like, wait a second. Do I have to do it this one or the next one? Fuck. And I'm trying to grew up on, or like, how about get your motor running, highway, looking for adventure, whatever comes our way. And yeah, so
I love it. Oh, that's fucking awesome. That was great, man. I was sitting there. Now I want to hear like oh man. You'll have to come back on the show one time and put on like a fucking 80s wig and fucking get the Guitar Hero thing and just fucking come rock something out. Because now people are like, I'm getting requests like they want you to sing some Bon Jovi.
Damn, I can use some Steel Panther. Have you ever heard of
Steel Panther? Oh, dude, I love Steel Panther, man.
My favorite band of all time.
The
Panther. Fuck.
did you ever see the goofy Steel Panther YouTube fucking docudrama?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh my, dude, I'll find it and I'll send you a link in Messenger, dude. Holy fuck, it's so fucking good and funny. You're gonna fucking piss yourself.
It's my favorite band of all time.
All time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I saw him in Vegas in like 2009, and I've been addicted to him since. I'd say Steel Panther being number one, Rob Zombie being number two. Even though I don't know all the words to his songs because none of them make sense, I just love his music.
I can only play that much before they fucking. I can only play that much before they, they'll cut the show on YouTube because I went too far. But
For sure.
It was in my head. As soon as I get off the air, I'm going to play the whole goddamn song. Listen, great chat with you, dude. I knew you were going to live up to my expectations of just a fucking cool dude with straight answers, but then just be fun about stuff, And I'm not conventional. I don't care if you drink beer, smoke weed. Don't blow lines on the show. That's a little much, But
I'll stick to my cold beer, and it has to be cold, and I'll smoke a joint every now and then.
Hell yeah, man. That's what you're supposed to do, man. That's life. So congratulations on that first win and getting to the UFC. Now the trick is to stay in the UFC. And like I said, you check all the boxes, so you should be good. You want to shout out any sponsors or anything before you dip?
Yeah, shout out to Jeremiah Self over at Self Equipment. Shout out to my head coach, Dennis Davis, Roman Isbell. Shout out to my strength coach, Andrew Jacoby. I always say Jacob. He the E should be sound bullshit. But shout out to all my teammates, my family, mom and dad, so on and so forth. Really appreciate everybody, all the fans that are viewing in. Really appreciate your support, and can't wait to the next one.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, you enjoy the rest of your night, man. I know you got another interview to do. I was going to try to get you out there earlier, but I could talk to you for hours, dude. This is fucking awesome. I am going to, and we are going to, next time you go up to Michigan, during a hunting season or something, I'm going to make sure I stay in touch, and I'm going to try to follow you up there, hang out with you, maybe you can teach me a little bit about hunting, but I want to meet your dad, and I want to visit his business.
Yes, please do. He would love it. He loves having company, so he'd love to do it.
And if you want to send a care package to me, just tell me off the air, and I'll give you the address.
No, I'll send you something.
All right, cool. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin Jaynes, a new UFC fighter. He's 1-0 in the octagon, 48-second knockout in his debut. Got a fight call on Wednesday, fought on Saturday, performance bonus, and he is well on his way. He's 16-4. You can follow him on Facebook, Justin Jaynes, just like it says right there. Check out his Instagram. I don't know if he Snapchats. He looks a little too smart to Snapchat, but you never know. I don't know if he TikToks, but fucking they say that's like a Chinese communist spy thing, so he probably doesn't do that. And that's it. Justin, anything else you want to say to the crowd that tuned in tonight before you dip?
Hey, man, just thanks for having me on the show, and again, thanks for everyone for tuning in. It was a lot of fun.
All right, man. We'll talk again soon. I'm going to buzz you on out. You enjoy your next interview, man. Where's your next interview going to be?
I have no idea. My manager lines them up, and I knock them down.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, message me. If it's something I can watch live and it's going to be live, I'll definitely tune in. I because somebody will ask you something that I didn't, and I learned, so I watch other podcasts because I always learn something. So be well, stay safe. God bless. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep. All right, boys and girls, that was Justin Jaynes, man. Busted out a little music for us, man. And as you can see, that's the Apex lined up for UFC. The home of his first victory. So that's it. I do not have any more guests lined up this week, but I am working on one. I might have a surprise tomorrow. Don't want to jinx it with the name, but hopefully we do. Thanks you guys for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, as I always say, thank you for being a part of my life today and for letting me be a part of yours for just a little while, man. I appreciate it more than I can ever put into words. Until next time, I am Christopher James. You guys have been Cates. I will see you on the flip side. Have a good night, guys. And if I don't see you before the weekend, happy 4th of July. Stay safe. And please don't blow off your fingers. Let somebody else do the fireworks and you just sit and watch. All right. Be good. Stay safe. God bless. Good night.